Okay, hello grade 8s that are watching this. This is the same as what we're doing in class, but I'm pre-recording it in case you missed the lesson or want to recap. So they know it's not on Edpuzzle, there are no questions as you go, but just if there are bits you want to revisit, either because you couldn't make it or you got kicked out or Wi-Fi issues, power issues, whatever. Okay, so we're doing equations that have fractions in them. And fractions are our friends. No need to ever get scared off. We're going to see fractions. We're really just going to take in our stride. It's going to be easy enough. So to get into it, let's revise how we write fractions with a common denominator. So we talk about a common denominator. I'm going to talk about an LCD, the lowest common denominator. So, well, 3 over 4 and 5 over 6. How do we write these two as fractions with a common denominator, not just common, a lowest common denominator? So what's the lowest common denominator, lowest common multiple that 4 and 6 go into? What's the smallest number that 4 and 6 both go into? If you thought to yourself 24, they do both go into 24, but there's a smaller number. And our LCD for this one is 12. 4 goes into 12 3 times. 6 goes into 12 twice. So therefore it's our lowest common. There's no smaller number that both 4 and 6 go into. So therefore 3/4, if we wanted to write it as summing over 12, then as an in-between step, how do we get from 4 to 12? Well, we'd multiply this by 3, wouldn't we? So let's see. So that times 3, 4 times 3 does give us 12. And we already know this concept of, well, we must multiply the top so that the fraction stays the same. So therefore, that's 9 over 12. Okay, and we can do the same thing with 5 over 6. We want to write this as something over 12. So therefore, what do we need to do? Well, let's multiply it by 6 times what gives us 12? 2. So we're multiplying it by 2 over 2. Notice in this second example, I've written as a separate fraction because what we're really doing is, look how we're just multiplying by 1. Isn't 2 over 2 1? So effectively saying something times 1 is the same thing. Yeah, so this 5 times 2 gives you 10. Okay, so we got LCDs, common denominators, revision. What happens if we've got x's now? Ooh, scary. Look at this, there are x's here. Same concept. What's our LCD? And I'm writing it on the side here because it's a nice habit to get into. To actually say LCD of 4 and 6, well, I'm going to say that's 12. You're showing, whoever's reading your work, look, I know to get the lowest common denominator. You're showing what it is as well. So it's a nice habit as well. So you're going to say, let's go for this first one. X plus 2 over 4. We want to write this as summing over 12. So what do we need to multiply the bottom by? Well, we need to multiply that by 3 like we did before. So we need to multiply the top by 3. Now let's think how we're going to do this. If we see something plus something, 2 terms, it's useful to put them in brackets. I'm going to put this in brackets because I want to multiply this whole thing by 3. And I'm not going to put the 3 at the end. We've just done distributive law for a reason, so that we can say 3 times x plus 2. So let's reinforce that with the second example to see what we're doing. We're saying we want this fraction, 5x minus 1 over 6. We want to write it as something over 12. Now I'm going to flip this around, and I'm going to say, instead of putting that multiply by 1 on the right-hand side, let's put it on the left-hand side. So what do we need to multiply this by? We need to multiply it by 2. Therefore, we must multiply the top by 2. I said, let's put that in brackets. By putting this multiplication on the left, look how much easier it is to write, okay, 2 times 5x minus 1, which we would then actually multiply out, but we're going to do that in the next step. Okay, so how are we going to do this to solve an equation? So we're given this equation, 3x minus 2 over 3 equals 5x plus 1 over 4. We're asked to solve it. What we want to do is find this lowest common denominator. So our lowest common denominator is, well, what's the LCD of 3 and 4? I get 12. Seem to have this come up quite a lot. 4 and 6. Okay. And this is going to come up quite a bit. 6 didn't work. 9, 12. So 12 is. So we want to write this as something over 12. So I'm going to do it like this to show our thinking. See? We've got 3x minus 2 over 3. What do we need to multiply it by to get to 12? We need to multiply it by 4. Multiply the top by 4. Multiply the bottom by 4. Okay, what about the right-hand side? See, I'm still laying out this equation. I haven't gone to a new line. This is the left-hand side. Here's the right-hand side. So we're saying that equals that. Therefore, the right-hand side, well, this was 5x plus 1 over 4. But we want the denominator to be 12. So we're going to multiply this by 3. So we must multiply it by 3 on top as well. But we don't normally put that times. We normally just put the 3 next to it. But it does mean 3 times that. Okay, so we're looking good so far. We've got our LCDs. Let's actually just write this down so we can see. That's over 12. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times this. Remember, distributive law. 4 times 3x is 12x. Don't put any signs down yet. 4 times negative 2 gives us negative 8. Okay, then we can do the same on this side. 3 times 5x gives us 15x. And then 3 times 1, well, anything times 1 is just itself. So that's plus 3. Okay, now if 12x minus that, if that over 12 equals that over 12, well, the bottoms are the same, so doesn't it kind of intuitively make sense that the tops must be the same? So if the denominators are the same, it makes sense the numerators are the same. So in other words, 12x minus 8 equals 15x plus 3. One way just to look at why does that work? This seems to jump out of what we've been doing. Well, can't I just times this side by 12 over 1? And these are going to cancel. What I do on one side, I need to do on the other. Those are going to cancel. So we've just multiplied both sides by 12, really. So we've got 12x minus 8, and from there we can solve. I'm going to look at my x's first. I've got 15x here on the right-hand side, 12x here. So I'm going to subtract 12x from each side. These two here are going to become 0. So I've just got negative 8 on the left-hand side equals 15x minus 12x, 3x plus 3. Okay, then let's eliminate this plus 3 and eliminate it with a minus 3. What we do on one side, we do on the other. So this plus 3 minus 3 gives us 0. So 3x equals minus 8 minus 3 gives us minus 11. And there, what do we have to do after that? Well, we just want x on this side. So we're going to divide this by 3. If we do on one side, we do on the other. So this is just negative 11 over 3. Negative 11 over 3, because that's kind of cancelled. And there we are. There's our answer. But the heart of this that's new is finding this lowest common denominator. Okay, I'm just going to start this one. If only one side's a fraction, it's very easy to turn the other side into a fraction. Just put it over 1. So our equation is actually 4x plus 3 over 5 equals x plus 2 over 1. And from there we're good to go. Lowest common denominator of 5 and 1, 5. So that's just 4x plus 3 over 5. This side, x plus 2 over 1, well, we're going to have to multiply that by 5 times by 5, and I'll leave the rest for you to solve, and we'll finish it off in class and get our final answer. It is in the workbook as well if you want to see that work through.